Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The Army is realigning its missile defense forces to prioritize homeland protection, placing 2 key commands under Space and Missile Defense Command. I spoke with Lieutenant General Sean Gainey, commander of Army Space and Missile Defense Command, at this year's AUSA conference, to understand how this shift fits into a broader strategy that includes space operations, a new MOS, and lessons from today's global conflicts. General Gainey, thanks for joining me.
Oh, it's great to be here.
How's AUSA going for you?
Fantastic. Getting the opportunity to tell the SMDC story, visit a lot with our industry partners, and connect with a lot of old friends. So great few days so far.
Speaking of the SMDC story, there's been some changes for SMDC lately. You've picked up some new organizations. Tell us about the transfer of the Army Air and Missile Defense Commands.
Yeah, a lot of great opportunities inside of Space and Missile Defense Command with the Army's transformation initiative. So as the Army transitioned to the Western Hemisphere Command, presented an opportunity for 32nd Army Air and Missile Defense Command that was previously under FORSCOM to move under Space and Missile Defense Command. And also it presented an opportunity for 263rd Army Air and Missile Defense Command that was previously under R North, doing the Homeland Defense mission set, to move under SMDC. So now what you have is you have the senior Army Air and Missile Defense expertise headquarters, now the higher headquarters for 2 of our Homeland-based Air and Missile Defense Commands, one with a focus on the Homeland and the other with a global force mission focus, particularly on the CENTCOM AOR, but with the opportunity to focus on a Homeland. So therefore, put in the priority, the Secretary of War's priority on the Homeland with the alignment of these forces under Space and Missile Defense Command.
Is that a shift in focus and mission for those subordinate units now?
The 263rd always had the Homeland Defense focus. They currently defend the National Capital Region mission set. So they will continue to focus on the Homeland mission set. The 32nd Army Air and Missile Defense Command has had a focus in the CENTCOM AOR for the past several years based off of the mission sets in protecting our soldiers abroad. They've always maintained a global mission. They're service to retain forces. So this gives Space and Missile Defense Command the opportunity to leverage 32nd in multiple capacities globally, also the Homeland.
And you also mentioned this is really sort of a realignment for Space and Missile Defense to a more Homeland-based defense mission.
Yeah, so it adds the warfighter component inside of our command. Our previous focus was, we've always had a focus on defending the Homeland with our ground-based missile defense system, our GBIs, primarily in Alaska area. And so now this addition of the 2 AAMDCs and the redesignation of Space and Missile Defense as a Army Service Component Command for GMD to now Army Service Component Command for all of AMD under the NORTHCOM commander right now.
And what's the timeline for this? Is it complete? Is it just underway in terms of transformation?
Yes, 1st of October was the effective date, so we've moved out. We've been coordinating with these subordinate elements for the past few months, and we reached a point of 1 October is where we want to determine initial operating capability, and we've done that, and we'll continue to progress onto full capability as we move forward in the future.
It's really an increase in span of control for you as the SMDC commander. Are you able to reinforce your staff to cover the additional responsibilities?
It's difficult because as we took on the additional elements, there are no additional resources provided, but we reorganize and we optimize inside of our command to meet this new mission set. And for Space and Missile Defense Command, this organization, with the inherent expertise of space and missile defense that we have in the organization, we were properly suited and properly aligned to accept these 2 AAMDCs. And, as the commander of SMDC, previously commanded a AAMDC, have several senior leaders in my organization that have previously served in a Army Air and Missile Defense Command. My Command Sergeant Major served as my command sergeant major in the Army Air and Missile Defense Command, so we understand the roles and responsibilities of a Army Air and Missile Defense Command. So it was a smooth transition, taking higher headquarters of those two AAMDCs.
Tell us a little bit more about this shift to a primacy of focus on homeland defense. And the Army's always been fighting over there, right, to keep some distance between the enemy and the homeland. How is that changing how you're organized, how you're focused, what the plans are?
Yeah, so for Space and Missile Defense Command, we've always had that homeland defense focus. As I highlighted earlier, we defend the homeland with our GBIs from an intercontinental ballistic missile, and we're the only ones that do that. And so having that previous focus in understanding, with our role with NORTHCOM as Army Service Component Command for GMD at the time, and now for AMD, working closely with 263rd, who's had the Homeland Defense mission inside of Space and Missile Defense Command. We assist in the role of that inside of the protecting the NCR with capability development. So we've always had a homeland focus, but we've also had a global mission. So our Army Space Forces have deployed globally in almost every COCOM, over the past several years. And so recently they've also started to do some of the homeland mission sets. So for us, it's a natural evolution, as the administration shifts and as the Department of War shifts their focus. For us, it's a easy shift. We see the homeland as priority number one, and we will accommodate and adjust accordingly to put more emphasis on something we've previously been doing.
So far, we've talked mostly about missile defense, but space is the first word in your command. How is the Army engaging in a space mission?
Yeah, so I'm often asked that question, and believe it or not, the Army is the largest consumer of space, and so to be able to protect our equities in space, to be able to enable our formations to fight in a future current and future conflict where precision fires, being able to move and communicate are heavily reliant on space capabilities. It only makes sense to have those capabilities inside of the Army to enhance what we're doing. And also as the Army moves into close fight, having space in the close fight and close support is critically important to enable our forces on the battlefield.
It seems that it's essentially a joint mission. So how do you integrate with Space Command and U.S. Space Force?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. As the commander of SMDC, I'm also the Army Service Component Command to SpaceCom. So we have the opportunity to work closely with the SpaceCom staff and with the other components from a joint perspective and really work work through the equities of how do we provide that close space support and able to observe the Space Force as they do orbital warfare. So it's Space Command has the ability to, across all of the components and all the services, integrate, synchronize, and properly use services capabilities to enhance the overall space mission set.
And the Army's creating a mission occupational specialty for space. Tell us how that's going.
We are, the 40 Delta, and we're very excited about that. So right now, what the Army has been doing, you highlighted the Army having space. So we've been doing that on a borrowed manpower process. So we've been taking soldiers from the Air Defense Branch, Signal Corps Branch, Military Intelligence Branch, bringing them into our space formations, teaching them how to do space operations, and then put them in formations. And we have 3 years to do this before they go back to their basic branch. So it's a very difficult construct to be able to build trained and ready, sustained forces and to be able to build a non-professional, non-commissioned officer corps. So what we've done is we've taken the 40 Delta, and so now what we'll do in October 26th, we're in the process of assessing soldiers into 40 Delta. So now we have space experts that will do the space occupational moving forward and creating a professional Army Space MOS to eventually create an Army Space Branch to move forward with because of the future fight and the current fight. the reliance on space is so significant. Having the trained MOS and a space branch inside of the Army, now is the right time to do that.
It's a real shift in focus and a real challenge to build out a new MOS, but it seems to align with the Army's air and missile defense strategy. So tell us about what that new strategy is for 2040.
Yeah, we're excited. Inside of, so as you can see, there's a lot going on in Space and Missile Defense Command.
You're not bored down there.
No, we're not, and we are excited because the Army leadership has really invested in this command. And so when you look at things that the Chief of Staff of the Army and the Secretary of the Army are constantly talking about, continuous transformation in contact, that's happening inside of Space and Missile Defense Command now. And the strategy is an evolution of taking previous strategies and visions and looking to the future. So we are in probably the most significant missile fight that we've been in globally with what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Israel. We're seeing the number of threat platforms, whether it's ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, or unmanned systems, drones, that we've ever seen in any conflict. And so looking at the lessons learned and looking at the complexities of how the threat is now employing not in one solvo, but mixed solvos to create several complexities for the operator, we felt it was time to take the good work that's been done in the past and move it forward with the integration of these lessons learned, how we're going to fight in the future, and what's our path to fight in the future going to be with the future systems and capabilities to get after this complex threat. So we've completed the strategy. We're now working its way up to the Chief of Staff of the Army and Secretary of the Army for their final approval. We believe that will happen in the November timeframe, but we've been working very closely with the force moving this forward, and we're excited to get that out to the larger force.
Well, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. Thanks for taking some time out here at AUSA to talk to us.
I appreciate you having us and let us continue to tell our story, so thank you.
Absolutely. Lieutenant General Sean Gainey commands the Army Space and Missile Defense Command. We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.